this famous story of Jacob wrestling with an angel. And there's a great, beautiful painting of it too that I don't know what it's called. But
I think it's called The Wrestling Match.
Yeah, that's what it says in
By
the Bible.
Rembrandt.
In the Bible. No one knows what it is. It's a very mysterious story because Jacob comes back from sending his wives, which is another like Jacob, moment in the Bible. Because you're not supposed to have 2 wives in the Bible, but there's debate about why he did this and whatever.
Are you sure that's...
Yeah, it's a problem.
Wait, where does it say that?
Where does it say what?
That you're not allowed to have more than one wife. Isn't that later?
I mean, I don't know. I can't quote you. That's the justification for Jacob is that, well, that rule was made later.
Is that a 10 Commandment thing?
No. It's not a 10
We're showing our ignorance here of the But I mean,
but 10 Commandments.
Well, no, but no one knows the 10 Commandments. I bet no one.
I know the 10 Commandments.
No, you do not. Tell me all 10 right now.
Thou shalt not lie. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not adulterize.
Sure.
Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not worship false idols. Thou shalt not covet something. I'm not sure what it is. It may just be covet. I'm not sure what you're not supposed to covet. I feel like it's your neighbor's wife. But that might be just a specific instance. Thou shalt... Now we're getting into the ones that are a little more... we don't really pay attention to these, where it's like sacrifice only things on Wednesday or whatever.
No,
okay,
I don't think
I can't remember the other ones.
Yeah, you know
what
6.
What are they?
I don't know them either. No, I agree. Like I bet... I don't need to know about that, but I bet one of them may be... I was wondering, is one of them don't take more than one wife, and I'm not sure if that's true. But anyway, Jacob was before Moses. So Moses hadn't even brought the 10 Commandments down, so Jacob could have however many wives he wanted. I'm pretty sure that like just having a bunch of wives was pretty standard back in the ancient Middle East for people that had material wealth. I am not a Mormon, by the way. I just want to
Here's the 10 Commandments. 1, I am the Lord your God who brought you out of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me. Okay, basically don't have false idols.
That's the most important one you forgot. Don't have other gods before me.
I said don't have false idols. Okay, I said
that's different.
No, that's
okay. Keep on reading. You'll see. Keep on reading.
Number 2. Oh, you shall not make for yourself a carved image. All right. That's true.
Yeah,
you should.
Those are 2 different things.
Of course, I missed the one that's like, don't worship other things. So I'm like, Bible, but you're also kind of like, it's the same for other religions too, right? God wouldn't like that one. Say, don't have false idols, don't worship other gods. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain.
We definitely have been violating that multiple times per podcast. Yeah.
Remember the Sabbath day, keep it holy. Honor your father and your mother.
Forgot that one.
Mom and Dad will not be happy about that. Send me to Bible school and this is to come out with missing that one. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. Yeah. And you shall not covet your neighbor's house or your neighbor's wife. I was right. I wasn't being weird. Nor his male servant, nor his female servant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, nor anything that is your neighbor's. Leave your neighbor the fuck alone. God was a libertarian.
Okay, so now everyone's been made aware.
Up to speed on the 10 Commandments.
Yeah, brought up to speed. So it doesn't have anything to do with wives.
This is not a covert outreach program.
It's starting to seem like it. I know. It's like we're like those, the Christians that are like they want to be cool and they're like I come out, with like a guitar playing
hair and whatever.
Christian music, Christian rock, and everyone's
Christian metal or whatever. Yeah,
that's great.
Oh,
it's not that. It's not that.
No, I mean we seem like pagan heathens anyway with our secret society. I'm pretty sure God did not want you to have secret society, so we're already like on.
Doesn't say that. You just
not
read
in
the 10 Commandments,
but the whole Bible is full of other rules. So anyway,
whatever.
Okay, look.
I don't know why did I just make that noise. Why did I just go? I just did some weird noise and fluttered my hands.
What is cursing that? You?
He is. I felt like the Hereditary girl for a second.
That's pretty fucking.
Yeah, that's
better
not good.
Stop bearing some
Yeah,
faultlessness or whatever we're doing here. Like, God, sorry. There's like a bird outside, like making strange gestures at me too. So God knows what's going on.
All right.
We've gone too far. Anyway, let's get back to the biblical stories. Okay, God. So the thing about Jacob wrestling with the angels is a really interesting story because that's, in a way, what the whole movie is. Jacob, the movie character, wrestling with life and death, wrestling with God, wrestling against these demons and angels. And so that's what the chiropractor ultimately tells him is stop holding on. Stop fighting against things. And then the things that you're fighting that you think are demons actually become angels trying to release you, which I find to be a difficult premise.
That's the Buddhist idea. That's not Christian at all.
Exactly.
And you can say that is leave your attachments. And look, again, I'm not an expert on Buddhism. I read, and I read widely, and I speculate. But Buddhism is not something I know the details of a lot. I do know that Tibetan Buddhism is a very specific form of Buddhism, and it is considered the more mystical or esoterical type. If you were, I think there's like big boat Buddhism, little boat Buddhism, and then Tibetan Buddhism is almost its own thing. And that's obviously, I think it's a Western division of Buddhism into three very broad categories. Buddhism, like all religions, is going to take on local elements in the culture it's in. Regardless, clearly we're not Bible exports. I'm clearly not a Bible export.
Your tongue has been cursed.
I know. I'm not a Bible export or a Buddhist export. I'm made in America.
Oh my God.
Okay. So anyway, yeah.
Okay, the idea of fighting. Yeah, so that's the thing. And like maybe that's why it's interesting that that's the thing that gives me pause is this idea of why are you trying to stay alive? Just stop and die and then you'll be fine. I was like, I don't like that. That's not the ending I want. How does he stay alive? But that would make sense that it's this very, because that's one of the unique elements of a lot of Eastern religion and belief is that there's so much more room given to life after death as a concept, as something that one can consider. Religion in the West, for the most part, I mean, there is obviously a lot of still consideration for that, but the focus is a little more on the life that you are living and living that in accordance with your God's principles and being worthy of what comes afterwards. But there's kind of this element that like don't worry yourself too much about what God's gonna do with you afterwards, you know? Whereas a lot of Eastern religion has so much more to say on that, and so I think
well, and we always talk about Nietzsche and Schopenhauer. Well, we don't really talk about Schopenhauer because he's hard to read.
Yeah, he is hard, but he is the predecessor to Nietzsche and kind of like I think he's like one of the first major bridges between the West and Eastern philosophy because he was super into it.
Yeah, and one of Nietzsche's criticism of the Schopenhauerian view is that he did not like, and Nietzsche wasn't reading this, I think, exactly correctly, I don't want to say that. Nietzsche was, okay, so in his idea of what Buddhism was, which may not have been correct or complete, he did not like this idea of the renunciation of the world. He thought that the Eastern religions and Buddhism, the Schopenhauer kind of slightly seemed to endorse that idea. And then Nietzsche also saw within Christianity a non-life giving force, a renunciation of life, but in a different way. He was against both those things. And I think that is, but to your point, us being Westerners, we don't really, there's something we don't like about that idea of, just let it go, you'll be reborn, all that kind of stuff. We're like, no, fight the demons. Or I do anyway. That's the same way I felt. I was like, no, you gotta fight, fight the demons.
I wonder if there's an element of the newness of the Western world. And because, I mean, compared to the Eastern world and Eastern philosophy, the West is younger. And then also the Eastern world has always had a little bit more of a collectivist culture. I think part of that is just not in the way that it's really understood popularly, but I think more collectivist in the sense of you are one of a long line. When a culture has such a long history, it almost by just the sheer significance of its long existence diminishes the individual a little bit. It's like how can you be so grandiose when you're just a blip out of so many ancestors that have come before you, especially, and then you can compare that to like a country like the United States, where you can't even track your ancestors very far without leaving the country.
We're really speculating wildly today, and I'm for it. Here's what I'll also say, and I'm just making things up as I go. But it's based in some knowledge. So if you think about that, Western can mean a lot of things, and Eastern can mean a lot of things. But in Christianity, there is a time, has a beginning, and it has an end. So it is finite in that sense. Like there is a beginning of the world, it's in Genesis, and there is an end of the world.
That's right.
But in Buddhism, that is not how it is, and I don't think in Hinduism either. There's circular time is more of the idea.
Yeah.
So within a framework, if your framework is that everything is essentially circular and infinite, that would do something, I would think, to the psychology and the place of the individual even more so than in the West, where there's this linear time. There's this, it's easier to have a place in a universe where there's a beginning and an end, whereas in the Eastern tradition, I don't think you have that. So
it's an interesting thing there.
Speculating on Buddhism. That's what this is all about.
Well, I mean, it is interesting to understand why it strikes you differently, because I have the same thing. When the angel told him, stop fighting, I was like, that doesn't make any damn sense. What are you saying? To just die and then it's not a problem anymore? And that is where there's a immediate divorce from the biblical analysis that you can apply, because that's just, I mean, granted though, he does use a quote from Meister Eckhart, which was a Christian mystic. So even then there is that. It wasn't from, but you did say that he is maybe couching his Eastern, the Tibetan Buddhism in Western rhetoric, so maybe that's why.